What is your name?
I'm Brad.
Hi, my name's Elena.
Hi folks, my name is Tony.
Hi, my name is Katie.
Hey guys, I'm Austin.
My name is Tegan.
My name is Julia.
Hello, Voyager people. My name is Riley.
My name is also Matt.
My name is Sally.
My name is Sarah.
I'm Rose.
My name is Tim.
My name is Hannah.
I'm Clay. What's your name?
My name's Maddie.
I'm from Wisconsin.
I am from the great state of Minnesota.
I'm from Virginia.
I'm from St. Paul, Minnesota.
I'm from Georgia.
I'm originally from Minnesota.
I'm from Minnesota.
I worked at Voyager 2015, 2016, 2017, and parts of 2018 and 19. Well, sort of 2020 as well.
Of 2015, 16, and 2017.
2015.
I think I first drove up the Gunflint Trail spring of 2015. I worked there that summer. Loved it so much I stayed the following winter, and that next summer 2016, and then came back, I believe, summer 2017 as well.
I worked at Voyager summer 2015 through 2016.
I worked for Voyager in 2016.
2018, 19, and part of 20.
Summer of 2017 as well as summer of 2018.
Summer of 2019.
This last summer 2020 season.
Of 2019 and 2020.
The summer and fall of 2020.
In the 2020 season.
I was part of the 2020 crew.
Summer 2020.
I worked at Voyager during the 2020 season. My most common job was cleaning gear, repairing gear, and some towboat driving.
When I was at Voyager, I did kind of half-time between food packing and towboat driving, which for me was the perfect balance.
I loved all the jobs while working up there, but my favorite was definitely food packing.
I was mainly in charge of gear packing, and then I helped out with towboat driving throughout the year.
Did breakfast as well as took customers to let out points on the Gunflint Trail.
I also did a lot of cleaning canoes, cleaning cabins. But some of the time you do spend just kind of driving the Gunflint Trail, which I found super enjoyable. Whether you're dropping off a canoe, you're picking up a canoe, you're dropping the cardboard off, you get to drive the Gunflint Trail, which is one of the most beautiful places in Minnesota and arguably in North America and arguably on Earth.
I liked doing the mail runs. I thought that was super fun, and I brought Bosley with me, and I would just listen to music and drive around and go pick up the mail, and I just thought it was kind of like a good way to get up and get moving.
My favorite job was probably food packing, which I did a lot of with Sarah Webb, and we had lots of fun.
My favorite and most common job was doing tows, doing projects, and Bosley sitting.
I was a proud outfitting queen with the one and only Madeline Frawley. We had a blast getting everything packed and ready for guests to get out on their trips.
My main job was kind of guest relations, so when customers called and wanted to book a trip, I would kind of get to know them and see what their experience was like in the wilderness or canoeing in general. And then I got to be matchmaker and set them up with a route that I thought would be a really epic adventure.
Getting outside, planting, painting, and just fixing things up.
I worked in the store, and I worked in outfitting, and did some food packing there, and then I also drove towboats sometimes.
Most employees would have a tough time denying that one of the favorite jobs is fish guts. That was definitely top of the list for me. I really enjoyed tows and shuttles. I enjoyed talking with people from all over. I had this thing where I would ask folks if they had one bit of life advice to leave me with, what it would be. And it was a great way to start conversations. I learned a lot, come across a lot of beautiful people. But I also really enjoyed nerding out in the back of outfitting and ensuring that all those tents were getting dried and the tarps were getting dried. And then later, I really enjoyed routing folks through their trip in the Boundary Waters or Quetico. And yeah, there's really no bad jobs up there at Voyageur. It's all fun.
What was something you learned while working at Voyageur?
I learned that you should never be afraid to try something new, even if you don't know how to do it.
I think the biggest thing that I took from Voyageur was customer service and teamwork, essentially. Being able to provide such a high quality of service to people that come to vacation, where we get to work and play, was so rewarding.
I think I learned how to balance work and play and get the most out of both of those things.
The biggest takeaway is that I love the diversity in tasks, working outside, working with your hands, solving problems. I really think this is a type of work I'm going to be in for the rest of my life, giving people an experience, hospitality. It's really a magical place up there, and there are so many different avenues to kind of figure out what you do best and where you really shine. And I enjoyed the hard work, the physical labor, and greeting and taking care of all the wonderful customers.
You learn tons of technical skills that will come in handy later, like learning how to drive a boat, learning how to change the oil, learning how to, if you want to take initiative, like Matt will teach you how to do maintenance things on your car, like we changed my brakes when I was there 1 year, things like that. And then I also learned a ton of customer service skills in the office with Cassidy, like answering the phone. I don't know, I sucked at it and hated it before I came to Voyageur, but that's something I've gotten so much better at, which honestly is such a good skill to have. I didn't realize that until I had it in my pocket. Now I can answer phones and it's great.
I think really the biggest thing about working here for the summer is the connections that you make and all the things that you're going to learn.
Something that I've learned at Voyageur was definitely that I'm a lot stronger than I think I am, and if I just push myself, I can do whatever I want to do.
I learned more than I can ever probably imagine. A lot of it was just learning about myself and also about other people. So you're probably, you're in a place that you're unfamiliar with unfamiliar people, with kind of no outside influences acting on you of who you should be or who you can be, and you get to learn about yourself. You get to be the most authentic self that you want to be.
So I had never been to the Boundary Waters before the summer I worked at Voyageur, so I basically had like a whole learning experience, and I learned how to flip a canoe on my shoulders and put a canoe on a car and put a canoe on a towboat, and even like simple things like learning how to make reservations. It was a whole like giant learning experience for me, which was really cool.
Something I learned while at Voyageur was the towboat driving. I had been an avid canoeer and a hiker, but I'd never been on the motor side of it. It was cool to see that.
I think the thing that sticks out to me most is just kind of gaining the confidence to navigate the wilderness on my own. I got to go on quite a few trips by myself over the 3 summers that I was there, and I definitely would not have had the guts to do that if I had been somewhere else.
I learned a lot of different random things. I learned how to drive a boat. I learned proper paddling techniques, and I just learned like a lot of random tips and tricks to canoe camping.
I learned lots of lessons while being able to work at Voyageur, but some of my biggest takeaways was just how amazing yet challenging the Boundary Waters is, and that you're always learning and growing while you're up there.
What I learned the most about was just myself, and it definitely made me grow in a big way to the person that I am today. So grateful for that.
It was literally an entire summer of learning something new every single day, which is pretty unique in a job. But anyway, one thing that definitely stands out to me is, an ability to navigate and explore the wilderness confidently. That was super important and stood out to me, both in and outside of work.
I learned so many things while working at Voyageur, and I'm not just saying that. I really learned about myself. I felt much more physically, I felt stronger. My family is very much like academic, so I didn't grow up in an environment where there was a lot of like, bodily confidence, like picking up heavy canoes or loading them on a van. These things were very new to me, and it made me extremely confident to learn how to do that, be uncomfortable, and then master it.
Tell a story about your season that you love. Ooh, there's a lot of good stories I love. I think what top of the list for me, most memorable, because it was one of the scariest, which also kind of forces you to come to, and those are memories that really stick with you. I was with a fellow coworker, Brad, and we went out on a beautiful, I think it was a full moon, very still, mosquito-y night, on a paddling trip. We had a couple days off coming up. And that night we ran into a wicked storm, and we made the mistake of not tying down our Royal X canoe. And after riding out this storm, which was one of the gnarliest storms I've been through in my life, this story is a long story, I'm going to keep it short. We woke up the next morning realizing that our canoe was nowhere to be found on the island that we had chose to camp at. So yeah, long story short, we had to swim across a very murky, lily-paddy lake, eventually found this canoe, and continued the trip, and had a fantastic time. However, that is a memory that I think is going to stay ingrained with me.
For the main part, it was really like the little things that made the experience so great. So whether it was like sitting around the fire, or taking a canoe to go watch the sunset, or going on hikes as a crew, like there's a really good family type of connection throughout the entire crew, which is really great, and it was just a great experience altogether.
I think one of my highlights of the season in 2016 would be the canoe races at Gunflint. It's a highlight of the summer, where all the outfitters on the trail get together and hang out with each other and race and just have a good time, and it's for a good cause.
One time I was driving back from Sag Falls, and I was driving slow through this area because it was shallow, and I heard a splash in the back of the boat, and I looked back and there's just a pike sitting there, and so I grabbed it and put it back in the water. But I've never seen something like that before. It was pretty funny.
I have too many to count, too many while working, you have a lot of fun, too many off work, too many on trips, but the one that I think I'll remember for a long time was in September. I was on a camping trip on my day off with my coworker Austin, and it was probably the windiest day of the summer because apparently they couldn't get the towboats out in the lake because the wind would push them back. And we were out camping on North Lake, and we had spent the day mostly hunkered down from the wind. We were listening to it rip across the trees, and we decided we probably wanted to sleep in a comfortable bed that night. So we took off around 5 o'clock in the evening, and we were going to go back the way we came across the big long Gunflint Lake, but it ends up, we decided, let's just finish our route that we planned. So we take off, and we arrive at South Lake to these massive swells of just multiple foot waves that are, it's not even white caps at this point. It's like, it's swelling. And we decide it's a tailwind, thankfully. And we go across, we surf those waves, we finish our route in the beautiful moonlight. And it was just an experience unlike any other. It was a wonderful bonding time. I just had a blast.
Another memory is when some of the crew, we all slept outside in a tent, and we could look up at the stars, and we just instead of sleeping in housing, we just slept outside on the sand. And and I think that night George was playing his guitar, and we were just falling asleep to the sound of music and watching the stars, and and looking at all the shooting stars, which were really, really beautiful. I think I counted like 20 that night before I fell asleep. It was really beautiful and a really, really memorable night.
I'd love to give you just one story from the season, but there's just so many good ones that I'm having a hard time coming up with one. I would say, honestly, it was just like spending time with everyone after work and going to hike the high cliffs or go for a paddle over to the Palisades, or just going to cliff jumping. Stuff like that was definitely pretty incredible and not something that I'll ever forget.
I had great memories while working up there, but one of my favorites was definitely being able to go on a trip with manager Cassidy and also another coworker named Maddie. And we were able to have a nice overnight stay at Rose Lake, and then in the morning get up and go have breakfast at Hungry Jack, and it was just a great trip.
And a story about my summer was an unexpected friendship I gained out of a evening towboat drive. A phone call came in that a family had not come back from their evening on Sag on time, so I headed out in a towboat to find them. It had been a fairly windy day, but I made it out in a towboat. I found the family. I got them back home. They were really grateful. And they had a 5-year-old with them, and he really was appreciative. He had been kind of scared about the whole experience, and he began calling me the towboat driver that rescued them. And over the next couple weeks, I saw that family a couple more times. The kid actually helped me clean canoes and things like that, but I got him a Voyageur t-shirt, and he was so excited. And it was one of those things that made the towboat driving more than just people paying for a ride out, but it was actually genuinely helping somebody, and it was one of those really cool experiences, and you saw how much it meant to all of them.
One of my favorite memories from Voyageur is my first summer. It was an employee's last day, and we all decided to go up on the rock that's behind housing, and we watched the stars, and then the Northern Lights came out, and it was just such a beautiful Northern Lights show, and it was the first time I'd ever seen the Northern Lights before, so it was pretty incredible.
One time we pranked a fellow coworker by putting an anchor in his pack when he was going on a solo trip.
A classic prank.
Yeah.
During, I think, my second summer, we went out on Seagull Creek thinking that it would just take a couple of hours. Little did we know, it was much longer than that. We encountered quite a few downed trees and other obstacles, got a little bit lost, but we had a blast along the way, and it was probably the most beautiful sunset that I've ever seen. We were eventually rescued by Sue and a couple of other crew members when they found us at the Gunflint. They may have gotten a flat tire and some scratches on the car while searching for us, but everything turned out all right, and it's a good type 2 fun kind of memory.
Can't think of one specifically because there were so many good ones. So I'm just going to say that it was a handful of moments that stick out the most to me, of just times after work when the whole crew would go up on the rock behind housing, this big tall rock that you can see the road and housing and the river and across the river from the rock. And it faces west, and so we'd go up there in the evening after dinner, and we'd read together, chat together, draw, paint, play our instruments, watch the sunset, and just hang out as a group and decompress after the day and just have a great time.
One story about my summer of work at Voyageur is that little did I know when I signed up for the job that I would also meet my soulmate. But here we are 5 years later after that summer at Voyageur, still exploring life together, so that's pretty rad.
Add anything else you want. I really, really valued my time up at Voyageur, and I think it shaped me into the person who I am today. The experiences living with your coworkers very closely, the relationships you make are ones that will likely stay with you for life. My now fiance and I worked a summer up there and then managed it together for a while, and had an incredible experience there. You can't go wrong. Take a summer to explore the boundary waters of northern Minnesota, Quetico Provincial National Park. You will not regret it. I can guarantee it. Yes, there are ups and downs. There are rainy days. There are cold days. There are days where you have hard work to do. But the experience and character that sort of work close to nature, out in the elements, and really one of the most magical places in the country for sure. It makes you a different person, and it makes you go about your day-to-day life with a little more gratitude and respect for the natural resources, people, and beyond. So I highly recommend Voyageur Canoe Outfitters. Thank you, Voyageur, Mike, Sue, Matt, and Cass. Everything you're doing up there is not going unseen or unheard.
I think one of the best things of working at Voyageur, aside from being surrounded by the natural beauty of the Boundary Waters, is just the camaraderie that you feel and the support that you get from the managers, Matt and Cass. From the nightly fires to the weekly group outings, whether it be paddling, hiking on various trails up the Gunflint, or going on the weekly overnight canoe paddle, or just nightly fishing out on Sag. It is a tremendous opportunity.
If you are feeling like you're being called to go up to Voyageur and take a chance on this job, do it. Don't hesitate. Matt and Cass are thebomb.com. They are incredible human beings and have a wealth of knowledge to teach you about the area. And then the Boundary Waters themselves, I mean, it's just spending time in that area makes you a better person. It's definitely changed me and my relationship to nature, and it's a place that is full of so much magic and so much history, and it's incredible. So do it. Don't wait another day. Apply.
Yeah, I just want to say that I had a great time being a crew member this past summer, and I learned so many things. I can't even count like the number of things that I learned from all of the crew members and all of the employees and my managers, and yeah, it was just a great experience, and it was really fun. I learned a lot.
I want to thank Matt and Cass for being awesome, fun managers. It was the best summer job I've ever had, and I made a lot of new friends, and also made a lot of time for just exploring the Boundary Waters and going for hikes and paddles and other trips.
Every young person should work at Voyageur. It's a great way to figure out who you are, to build confidence, to figure out what it is you want to do, and be around other young people who aren't sure what their next steps are, but who also want to be in a beautiful place to figure that out. So I feel really blessed and really thankful that I had that experience for 2 summers. I met some really wonderful people who taught me so much about the Boundary Waters, and has just taught me about myself. I feel so lucky that I found Voyageur and was able to work there and make so many wonderful memories.
Because of Voyageur, I'm on this totally different trajectory, which I'm simultaneously terrified of and so excited about. And so Voyageur was really the catalyst for that. And I think spending time at Voyageur has if you spend time at Voyageur, you can also realize those things. If you go in with an open mind and are ready to grow and change more than you could ever imagine, Voyageur is going to be such a great experience for you. All right. Thanks, Matt and Cass.
All in all, I can definitely say that the magic of the North Woods and the memories you make with the Voyageur fam really do follow you down the trail in the rest of your trail in life. And so, yeah, do yourself a favor and sign yourself up for a beautiful summer. You know, what a cool place to work.
If I could tell you guys anything, I'd just say go for it. Definitely, if you're thinking about working at Voyageur, it's an amazing place, and I guarantee you will not regret it.
I wouldn't trade my summers at Voyageur for anything. I had so much fun sharing in the excitement of getting guests ready for trips in Boundary Waters and Quetico. And I also was lucky enough to meet so many great people and make lifelong friends. If you work there this summer or in the next few, I'm sure we'll meet at some point. Matt and Cass can't keep me away.
But all I can say is that I 100% recommend you to apply for Voyageur right now. Do it right now. Don't even procrastinate. You won't regret it. And maybe I'll see you up there in the future.
Oh, okay, and then our last thing is to introduce you to our newest Voyageur friend. This is Sally. Okay, bye.
Bye. Well, I'm going to get back to skiing, but thank you guys. Venture on. And here's Trapper Lake.